morning. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Citizen TV on this 16th day of October 2023. My name is Sam Gituku. Just to reintroduce the panelist, Honorable Lachi is the Member of Parliament for Dagoretti North. Good morning.
Morning, Sam. Good morning.
Deputy Speaker at the National Assembly, Honorable Gladys Boss. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Geoffrey Wandeto, the Member of Parliament for Tetu Constituency. Good morning.
Good morning, Sam. Good morning, our viewers.
It is good to see all of you here. And I want us to begin by looking at what is in the papers this morning. On the Daily Nation is inside the big junior high mess. A Nation investigation reveals the sorry state of junior schools located in public primary schools. There's little or no learning going on, with a few teachers stretched to the limit and covering all the subject areas by themselves. That's affecting learning quality, and things can only get worse as a new class transitions in 2024. Then there's that story down there. Mudavadi takes on cause care over roles and office. Prime CS and Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has accused Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service Felix Koskei of overstepping his mandate, escalating an ongoing tussle with Public Service CS Moses Kuria over the roles and locations of their offices. It is the main story on the Standard. Trouble in Paradise. What started as a tiff on who sits where between Prime CS and Public Service CS Moses Kuria has opened the lead on power plays in the Kenya Kwanza government, with subtle threats being issued by senior government officials. Of course, the background to this is that up to the day of the reshuffle, that was on 4th of October, the Prime Cabinet Secretary had his office at the Kenya Railways building. The Trade and Industry Minister at that time, Moses Kuria, had an office at a different location. Now there is a memo that has been released by Felix Koskei saying that Moses Kuria should head to the Kenya Railways and the Prime Cabinet Secretary should head to the Old Treasury Building, which is the headquarters of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There is a letter from Kibisu Kabatesi suggesting that that is not in order because the Prime Cabinet Secretary was already settling in at the Kenya Railways. Then Moses Kuria is saying that his ministry is at the public service headquarters, and that's where it should remain, not necessarily moving to the Kenya Railways. And I'm just wondering what is going on here, because let me begin with you, Honorable Lachi, because you've been a CAS, the public service minister, or rather you've been in those offices. I mean, what's so big in an office? If the head of public service decides that this is where the location should be, should Kibisu Kabatesi be saying that he wants instructions to come from the president, yet the chief of staff is the chief of staff of the president?
You see, Sam, that conversation when Kenyans are talking other things is not a very good conversation in the morning. But I'll have to say this, that I think the best would be, since already the Prime Cabinet Secretary was already settling at the railways, I would wish they continue that way, because public service, by the way, is domiciled in Harambee House, so they can continue, and most of the key functions of public service under Harambee House. So for me, I think Moses Kuria should just remain there, because they are very key dockets. Many people don't know that they are very crucial systems that we use in public service. Some of them are at KICC, which I'm hoping they can also move. Some of them are at Uchumi House, which needs to move because they are very, very crucial. That's where the whole human resource of the whole country, by the way, lies. And so if you want any password in terms of all those who hold the dockets of human resources in the different ministries, and you'll find them at Harambee House.
Right.
So, and that is where now Moses is supposed to really learn most of those functions. So if you move him again to Kenya Railways, he'll always have to come back there to follow through, especially on the passwords that we use to ensure the number of employees that you have in government. How do you follow within to ensure, and this is a system that when 1 year to your retirement, it alerts you And so if the ministry, and I know many of the ministers who have been there, it was very rare for them to know that this system is there and it works, not just for national government, but also for county governments. That if I want to transfer, I have to go through this system to transfer.
But now, Honorable Elachi, the role of the Prime Cabinet Secretary has changed. He's also the Minister now for Foreign Affairs.
Yeah.
Foreign Affairs, I mean, has been at the old Treasury building for quite a long time.
For all the days that we've known. So it is for them now to sit down and discuss all those things and agree. But then it doesn't need to come in the public. I don't think it's an issue that you should bring to Kenyans, because Kenyans are wondering. We are talking about our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the office, it's up to how you manage the office and how you function with it.
Okay.
In fact, I always say it's not about the office. It's about you and how this office functions. So it's not about the building. It's about how do you function and the services you give.
Okay.
Yeah.
For you, Honorable Gladys Boss, I mean, what is this we are dealing with? Should it even be a concern? Because now you see a letter from Kibisu Kabatesi talking about that the Prime Cabinet Secretary has been a squatter, but now was already settling in at the Kenya Railways before the renovation is done, and even saying that Felix Koskei should not be communicating on where the location should be up until the Executive Order number 1 of 2023 is amended. What is this?
I think this is a non-issue, really. I don't think it should be something that we should make the headlines or take our time discussing it. Because it's like discussing whether my daughter should sleep in the other room and my son should move to the other one, and where my housekeeper should sleep. I mean, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's a service to Kenyans. I think what has to be logically looked at is, yes, this is there's quite a significant change. We know that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been domiciled in Harambee Avenue and Harambee House. I mean, it has various departments there. It has the protocol office. It has the various desks, the Asia desk, the Europe desk, and so on. And it's where basically the hub of connecting with the diplomatic corps happens. Yet, at the same time, the public service has been traditionally domiciled again in the same building. The position of Prime CS was new, and was proposed to be domiciled at the railway building. So the issue just be asking is where the majority of the staff members are, and where would it be logical for whoever is in charge to sit, so that they're in a proper proximity to be in order to deliver service. Not because someone particularly wants to sit somewhere. I think you have to ask yourself, who are you managing, where are they seated, and so on.
Right.
I remember in my MBA class, we had a whole subject on workflow management. So usually you'd say, if you sit here, then the people you consult with are here, and the people that they supervise are there, and therefore, you need to be in close contact, and so on. Other people don't necessarily have to be in the same building as others, but there are others that is critical. So that is something internal. I think they can be able to sort it out. But
so does it have to call for the president, because one of the aides is calling for communication from the president in an executive order? Or shouldn't Chief of Staff just suffice? I
think that's a bit ridiculous to tell the head of state to come and manage who sits where. I think he has more important things to deal with, as Beatrice Elachi is talking about. So I don't think it's something that we should spend our time. But you see, Kenyans love speculating.
We're not speculating. There's communication from
I know there's communication, but there are some things we should just dismiss.
There's communication from Moses Kuria, the Cabinet Secretary involved here, and he is saying that he's not ready to go to the Kenya Railways. Much of his work is still at the headquarters of the public service as we've known it. So really, I don't think we can dismiss it. This is the Cabinet Secretary saying it. Honorable Ndeto, what shall we do here now?
I think I agree with my two colleagues that this is very sad that such a small matter is actually now occupying our headlines. And I'll say this. First of all, to even get those positions is a privilege. And at a time when the country is grappling with very many other issues like the cost of living, I think we should be settling down very, very fast and starting to provide a service to Kenyans. So the discussion about who should sit where, it's normally a technical discussion, because there is something that guides, and I think the Deputy Speaker has said it very well. There's something that guides how people sit in terms of workflow management, in terms of facilities. Who needs what facilities? Who needs what space? How many people do we need to move around, to settle? And I think the person who is in charge of this, from where I sit, should be the head of public service, because there must be some people who check what are the government facilities available, what are the establishment, what are the requirements, who requires, say, a place to serve people. Is this an office where people have to come in, so we require some halls to provide customer service, etc. So there should be a technical person that looks at all this and says, Sam's office should be at the front, my office should be at the back, this should go where, this should go where. But I agree, again, dragging the president into a conversation like this is actually misusing the name of the president. So, and also the two senior leaders coming out in the open, whether it is them directly or their people coming in the open and making this an issue, it's a ridicule and it's wrong. They should just meet over coffee and sort this thing out, and everyone moves, and I think we serve Kenyans.
Yeah, and I think Kibisu Kabatesi, who's supposed to be the government strategic communication person, is he communicating strategic issues that affect members of the public and affects Huduma to the public and a service to the public? The answer is no. So please tell us something that affects the public, not who sits where.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need that, and I hope we can end this conversation.
All right, Herman Manyora joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Sam.
It's been a very long time. I haven't seen you.
Yes.
Karibu sana. So Moses Kuria yesterday tweeted and said, or posted on X, contrary to media reports today, there is absolutely no tug of war between myself and my senior and close friend Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi. The PCS, meaning Mudavadi, will continue operating from Railways headquarters and myself from Harambee House. Principal Secretary for Performance and Delivery Management, Veronica Nduva, will also be based at Harambee House to oversee government delivery services, performance contracting, State Corporations Advisory Committee, and Inspectorate of State Corporations as per Executive Order number 1 of 2023. Of course, a bit of dismissal of what this tussle is about, but clearly when a Cabinet Secretary comes out and speaks, and the aide of a Prime Cabinet Secretary speaks, and the Prime Cabinet Secretary has not spoken against that, then there is a lot that needs to be understood. What are you reading from this?
Sam, when it starts wrong, it rarely gets right, And when it starts right, most likely it will be right all through. If you try to fit, is it a square peg in a round hole or a round peg in a... Things don't work. I think there's a lot of... this tells you that there's a problem. And that problem starts with the office of Musalia Mudavadi, which wasn't quite fitting anywhere, not in the Constitution. And when the president gave him this new docket, it even complicated things more. You see, it was a very simple thing which the president would have done. It would have been to name Mudavadi a minister. Once you name him a minister or a CS, then the rest follows. The Constitution is very clear that you can assign him other duties. Along the lines of what happened during Uhuru's time with Matiang'i. You could make him a bigger Matiang'i. But the way it started, I think it started also. Those like Moses Kuria who are aware of that are taking advantage of it. In terms of where people sit, well, it may not be a very big issue. But surely the sector in charge of defense in the U.S. must have a tab on the Pentagon, and surely. And like Cholet has said, there are certain things that happen at foreign affairs, which surely you can't manage from a distance. So this confusion is evident. Okay. And I think it may look like a small thing, but it's important that the president sorts it out so that there's smooth.
But have you heard of that? That communication comes from the Chief of Staff, Head of Public Service, but people are contesting it?
It shouldn't be so. That should be the final person. what he says should be final.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, how else can it work? Once Koske has said it,
Yeah.
that's how it should be, because the Koske speaks for the president.
All right.
Oh.
Well,
we remember Sally Koske speaking for Daniel Arap Moi. I mean, it can't come higher than that. I don't see anything coming higher than, I mean, it can't come from Kibiso Kapatesi or from Moses Kuria. Felix Koske must be the final man.
okay, all right. Of course, we'll wait to see what transpires, because there's that conflicting communication from different quarters by the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, that is Felix Koske, has given an elaborate communication as to the location of each ministry, especially the headquarters. We wait to see what transpires. In the meantime, over the weekend, something happened to the cost of fuel, and it is up